So this is the Blackstar Live Logic MIDI controller. It's a MIDI controller, so what that does is it sends messages to and from your computer. So for instance, in this setting that we're going to use, we're using it to control some amp sim software. I've got my laptop set up and we've got an interface, so we're going to use it in that way. But there's no reason that you couldn't use it for something like Ableton, which this is one of the licensed controllers, I think, for. Or at least integrated controllers for Ableton. So you can control your live looping and anything. So basically, it sends MIDI messages which your software can then interpret and do whatever you want with. So the controller features 6 foot switches along the front, which you can assign to do whatever you want with. For instance, we're using this to turn on pedals and turn them off, but there's no reason you couldn't use them as start or stops on loops, or a record button or a stop button, that sort of thing. Anything you can assign it to. On the back, we've got standard MIDI in and out. It's got 2 slots for expression pedals, which means that if you have an expression pedal, you could assign that to be a volume pedal, a wah pedal. You could increase the gain on your amp or something like that. It's basically an open-ended thing, as provided that the software can handle it. So there's 2 of those. The foot switch also has a mode toggle on it, which goes between patch and custom modes. So basically in the patch one, we're sending off a program change. It's whatever you set it to. Whereas in the custom mode, you can use the Blackstar app that they've developed alongside this, so you can assign it to whatever you want as well. So there's increased functionality there. It also has a USB in, which it can be powered by, but it also has MIDI over a USB, which means that you wouldn't necessarily need to use a MIDI lead. You could just plug your USB straight into your computer and it would send those messages anyway. Standard 9-volt power supply and power button. So if we have a quick look at how I've got this set up, I'm running Logic on my laptop. We're using a Focusrite 4i4 with the MIDI going in, and I'm obviously using the foot switch. The guitar is going into the front end of the Focusrite through the preamp, and then it's going into the Neural DSP 14 Cali suite, which is an amp sim. So if we have a look at the MIDI mappings to start with, I've currently got this set up so the parameter and presets on this are Fascinating Rhythm and Waka Chuckers, which are set to 3 and 4 on the foot switch. And then I've also got 1 and 2 set up to control pedals, which are built in. So what that looks like is if I click this button, that pedal turns off. And if I click this button, that pedal turns off. There's a load of noise there because that's a noise gate. These 2 will then swap between the patches, and then I've got control over that. You can set it up to do a bunch of different things, but this is just what we set it up. We need to give a shout out to Nick DePiro, who has a really, really good video on how to set up Neural DSP products with the Blackstar Live Logic. His video was just enormously helpful for us. So we'll put a link in the description box for him, just because it was really useful for us, and it'll probably be really useful for you too. So if I play through this, I'm just going to give you a quick example of how this works. Okay, so I've started off with a clean patch, and I'm going to use the foot switch to turn on and off the overdrive and the noise gate. You can assign it to do other things, but this is what I've set up. So if I wanted to, I could change the entire preset as well. So that's a brief overview of what this thing can do. The options with things like this are unbelievably infinite. So we've just captured a really small amount. Personally, because I use things like amp sims and want to control software, we decided to use this to control amp sim software, but you can use this to change patches on your keyboards or anything like that. You can even use it to control features in your DAW as well, which is super handy. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you use it for. I've personally been looking for something like this for a while to use with amp sim software, so this is a really, really great addition. Again, if you like the video, subscribe, leave us a like, and we'll see you next time.